Hey everyone, and welcome to Age of Reason, episode 30. Finally at 30.
Yes.
With me today is Jeremy Deschner from the Japan Atheist Society.
Glad to be back. It's been a while.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
So, a lot of you may know this. I run an MMA site and an MMA Facebook group, and along with the Atheist Society of Japan. So, those things keep me quite busy because often there's lots of events here in Japan, and myself and my staff have to go out to those events and promote them and report on them in English so that the world can partake in what's happening here in Japan in sports. So that's not really related to atheism or free thinking, but it's just another one of my social activities.
I'm surprised actually how many people are into MMA. I'm not, but I'm surprised how big the community is.
It's huge, especially like Japan was basically where it all started, right? So you had like a big pro wrestling fan base here, and from pro wrestling is where MMA was born, right? Mm-hmm. So not to get into too much history, but because I plan to do a podcast about this myself later, but back in in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Antonio Inoki would go around to different places and challenge people. He's a huge pro wrestler. He's still alive now. He's a politician now in Japan. Mm-hmm. But he would go around and challenge different people. He'd challenge boxers. He'd challenge karate guys. He'd challenge judo guys. And basically that was the foundations of where MMA or mixed martial arts got its start. And and if you're ever interested in watching or learning about that, you can visit MMA Japan and check it out.
And do you have your own podcast related to that? Do you have a name of that podcast?
I have Pancrase Radio, which is a podcast that's available on iTunes and anywhere basically that you can find, podcasts. In addition to that, we have an atheist-related podcast as well called The Worldwide Atheist, and you can check that out for free as well.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks.
All right, so today we're going to talk about the Bible, and we're going to talk about the Obama presidency. Now, okay. I've been wanting to do that for many months, but I wanted really to get you back on the show to do that.
Okay.
So, just a quick announcement. Mm-hmm. The page might go on a hiatus between July and September. The reason is I'm trying to write a book, and I can't really do that if I'm doing the page, if I'm running the page. So the show obviously stops anyway. But it takes a lot of time to research stuff. Of course, you know that.
Yes.
You have to check things, and a lot of people share fake news, and you have to go through that. It really takes a lot of effort. I can't do that if I'm trying to write a book. So
we get a lot of feedback, especially if we ever put anything up that's not researched or checked out. People will shit on us. It's like get an umbrella because you're gonna need it. Yeah, because like people will go nuts. It's like you just throw like a little scrap of food into a pit of animals and they just all attack, right?
That's true, that's true. Yeah. But it's funny though, when religious people say nonsense, it's fine.
It's true. Well, that's what their entire thought process is based off of is nonsense, right?
Yep.
Why is the Lord bringing us into this land? To fall by the sword? Our wives and our little ones will become prey. Would it not have been better for us to go back to Egypt? So he says, how long will these people despise me? How long will they not believe in me, in spite of all the signs I've given them? I will strike them with pestilence and disinherit them. I will make a greater nation, and they are mightier than you. Okay, so basically he said, oh, I've given you a lot of signs to believe in me. So he says, right? Mm-hmm. And then he says, like, if you don't believe in me, I'm going to make a bigger, better nation to come and kick your ass. It's like, that's so childish.
Yeah.
It's like when you're a little kid and you're like, hey, JC, if you won't let me be in your club, I'm going to make a better club. And it's going to be better than yours, and I'm not going to let you in my club. So it's just like really a childish way of doing things. I'm going to just hop out of this for a second.
Yep.
Back in the numbers time, like there's a lot of stuff where like God's talking to people. So like, well, how did that work? It's just like suddenly you hear a voice and like you start looking around and like, hey, I want you to go do this, and then you go do it without even like going, what's happening? And like maybe I should think about this before I do it, or if you're really an almighty supernatural creature, why don't you just
do
it yourself? Why do I have to go and do it, right? Yeah. So, but these
always
guys
needs a third party,
right? It's like Q from from like Star Trek: The Next Generation. He just comes around to mess with people. You know, I don't understand why these people in this fictitious book just suddenly start listening to voices out of the air.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can go even further down this rabbit hole. They keep calling this God, but they don't ever describe what is a God, right? What qualities is a God? Because if you take all the qualities that I think they're talking about, we can break those down scientifically and prove that there's no possible way that this could ever exist in nature, right?
Well, God, by definition, is supernatural. What is supernatural? It's outside of the natural realm. So,
For example, what's out? Give me one example of something outside the natural realm.
ghosts.
That's not an example because you can't prove that ghosts exist.
Exactly.
What is a ghost? You know, it's like people are like watching these scary movies and they're like, "Oh, a ghost is in my house," and then was watching me jerk off. What's it gonna see? You know, well, no one's ever had like a death by ghost on their death certificate.
Yeah. Yeah.
A ghost shows up in front of you. Ah, I'm a ghost. You're just like. Now you're a ghost with a black eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the fuck out of my house. That's true. The ghosts always want you to get out, right? They're always going, get out.
Of course.
I'm like, pay rent, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You
not
get
free.
out.
It's not free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quit leaving ghost poops everywhere.
If one person sins unintentionally, he shall offer a female goat a year old for a sin offering. Okay, so clear discrimination. Why is it a female goat?
Yeah.
Okay, but it goes on.
It's not a pretty one.
Well, of course.
Yeah, you got to give them the ugly one.
Of course.
Yeah, you don't give them the pretty goats.
Uh,
Pretty
it-
goats are for something else. Back in those days.
Yeah. Oh, still now.
Still now.
Still now.
There's a country called New Zealand. Hi, New Zealand.
While the people of Israel were in the wilderness I should say, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day, probably to make a fire or something. The man shall be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside the camp.
Once the desert has lots of sticks, I'm not familiar with sticks in the
That's
desert.
cacti. but-
Cacti. Well, there's other stuff to burn. Right?
Oh, sure.
But I mean, sticks. Okay, they mention sticks. So he's just walking along, picking up stuff, and then like these guys go, yoink,
Yep.
and they just grab him. Hey, you're not supposed to pick up sticks on Saturday. Well, technically, if you guys are being police's work, so you're working on the Sabbath,
Yeah.
right? So you're walking around policing people. That's work as well.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of like inconsistencies.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Basically, they bludgeon him to death.
Yeah.
So back in those days, what did they do? They dig a hole
Yep.
up to you, and they bury you in the sand. Once again, they're in the desert,
Right.
and they leave your head sticking out of the sand. Then they give everyone rocks. There's probably rocks in the desert.
Oh, yeah,
there's
yeah,
lots
yeah.
of rocks in the
Yeah.
desert. That's believable. And then everyone chucks rocks at this poor soul's face
Yeah.
until he dies of being beaten to death
Right.
on the Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
They probably murdered him on the Sabbath, right? That's what it sounds like. Yeah. There's a lot of murder in this book.
Oh.
They call it numbers. There should be murder by numbers.
Yeah.
There was a congregation of 250 chiefs, which apparently is a thing. Yeah, so 250 chiefs. Why do you need so many chiefs? Okay. And they assembled together against Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You've gone too far. For all this in the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Then why do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord?" Aaron and Moses fell on their face again. Curse flat. Yeah. Every time in this book, they're talking about Aaron and Moses keep falling on their face. Every passage, Aaron and Moses fall on their face. Very clumsy guys. They're just getting really creative now. Okay, the earth opens its mouth. I didn't know it had one. And swallowed them and their households. And then all the people who belonged to Korah and all their goods. So the earth ate them. Yeah. So they and all their belongings with them went down into Sheol, which is probably hell.
Yep.
And the earth closed around them, and they perished in the midst of the assembly. And all that were in Israel fled and cried, and they were scared that the earth was going to eat them too. Okay, so now the earth eats people. So
Well-
how do you escape the earth?
Well, it could be a sinkhole in theory.
It could be a sinkhole, but I mean, or maybe it just didn't happen.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like I just said, it could be a sinkhole. And this is what some religious people do. They try to find some kind of justification
Right.
for this text, right? So
Right.
it's really like trying to fit a Cinderella's shoe on an elephant's foot
True.
using a sledgehammer.
Yeah. It's, like I said, it most likely didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the earth was like, we'll have one of these. And then some of their goods. Ow.
Yeah.
It said all the people of Korah, like all of the
Right,
people,
right.
like the 250 chiefs were causing some shit.
Yeah.
And then all the people are like, in Korah are like going, no, shh, no,
Yeah.
no. The earth, it's opening its mouth and it's all your fault. It's going to eat us. Yeah, so all those people got fucked because of those 250 chiefs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It says, well, God is talking here, and he says, take Aaron and Eleazar, his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them on Eleazar, his son. And Aaron shall be gathered to his people, and shall die there. Moses did as the Lord commanded.
What an asshole.
And they went up Mount Hor in the sight of the whole congregation, and Moses stripped Aaron of his garments. So Moses stripped down his elder brother.
He took his pants off.
And put them on Eleazar, his son. Wow. So this dirty kind of underwear, now Eleazar has to wear that.
Put these on. No.
And Aaron died there, on top of the mountain. So this is very reminiscent of the Abraham killing his son story.
Yeah. Well, fratricide and murder are not too uncommon in the Bible.
No, not at all. No.
So this is another brother killing a brother. That's how the whole book started out, right? Abel kills. Cain kills Abel, right?
That's very true. Yeah.
And then God made him into a vampire.
Yep.
Moses could have said something to Aaron, like, hey Aaron, we're going up on the mountain. You want to put a helmet on or something, man?
Yeah.
Not looking good for you, Aaron. Yeah. And could you wear these easy to take off clothes? Wow, this is getting weird. Yeah. Why does he ask me to wear these clothes that you can just take off? Yeah. Wear some clean undies, Aaron. You don't want to have any dirty undies up there. What is he good at? What's he getting at?
So weird.
Because they're just going up the mountain to kill his brother. Why have you brought us out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no food, there is no water, and we loathe this worthless food. Then God sent fiery serpents among the people. Okay. And they bit the people. Could have moved. It's like you couldn't see the fire coming towards you.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this neat fire. Look, it's shaped like a snake. Maybe I'll stand close to it. Yeah. Okay. And it says, many of people of Israel died. So Moses prayed for the people, and the Lord said to Moses, make a fiery serpent, set it on a pole, and everyone who is bitten shall see it, and they shall live. So Moses made a bronze serpent, which is not what he said. He said, make a fiery serpent. Moses, you ass. He put it on a pole, and the serpent, and if the serpent bit anyone, he looked upon the bronze serpent and lived.
These people died, right? And then somehow magically this bronze serpent bites them again, and they come back to life? How does that work?
And it's on a pole.
Right.
Yeah. So they're all lining up and just walk by the serpent and goes, ah! the next guy, ah! I don't want to go. You have to go. You realize we can see the fiery serpents, right? They're not sneaking up on anyone.
Ridiculous. And this part, in particular, it's so made up. Come on. It's so fucking made up.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. I mean, how is under what mechanism is a bronze snake saving people? Hey, look at my lucky rabbit's foot. My lucky rabbit's foot makes you feel better.
And I mean, you can set a snake on fire, but then it would die.
Yeah.
So
I saw on Facebook one time a snake that had tried to eat like a porcupine or whatever, and the porcupine in its last stitch effort shot its quills throughout the snake. Yeah, the snake looked miserable, man, and it was dying. Yeah. You can't set things on fire and expect them to live.
Well, people eat snakes.
Well, I'm from Texas. I know this. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we eat snakes all the time. Just to see one sliding around, just eat it like that. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun. That was a lot of crap.
Yeah, that was a lot of bullshit, man. Like, snakes, fiery snakes, suck my dick. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Obama presidency.
Obama.
So before I even jump to the notes, I have to say something. It's so interesting to me to read comments in general about Obama. And it seems to me that people go to the opposite angles all the time.
Right.
So either Obama is like the greatest president ever, or he's the worst president ever.
Right.
And it seems to me because of this culture we have in America that we only have two parties, and usually everything is presented as a Pascal's wager, false dichotomy,
Right.
always two choices. People tend to think like that.
Right. Generally speaking, the world's not always black and white, like you mentioned. It's
never
a false
actually.
dichotomy.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of these people, especially evangelistic Christian people, will say, if you're not doing this, then you have to be this.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true, right? You know, if you don't want to be part of either, you can just kind of ride in the middle, like the gray Jedi or whatever. You know, just you don't have to go down either path. It's not black or white. Sometimes there's a third choice. Sometimes there's there's a multiple choices. D, none of the above. You know.
I recently read on a comment, well, you don't believe in Jesus, so you believe in Allah then. Ugh.
Yeah, I believe in Allah. Sure, whatever, bro. Yeah, I believe that there's a book about him. Yeah. I believe in Allah the same way I believe in Luke Skywalker. All right, there's a story about him. Cool.
Or Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, right?
Whatever.
There's tons of evidence about evangelical Christian evidence. Of the existence of Spider-Man. I mean, they talk about New York. They talk about Town Square. They talk about all this stuff in
gangsters,
police. And,
that's real.
Buildings that we know exist. That then Spider-Man must be real.
Right.
By that logic.
Yeah. I try to find as many facts as possible. Of course, I know we are all susceptible to fall into fake news from time to time, but I really try to do my best. If I find some fake news in here, please correct me in the comments. I'm by no means perfect. He was inaugurated in 2009. He passed the Reinvestment Act and American Recovery Act, which economists agree today was way too small for what was required. It should have been 3 times bigger, but he never got the money. He passed Obamacare into law, and that's perhaps his biggest achievement, but it has a lot of issues still. But having said that, he's the first president that actually changed something in the system that hasn't changed for decades, and nobody wanted to touch it. So yeah, it's not perfect, but we need to move into some kind of direction.
Yeah.
And by the way, U.S. is the only developed nation that does not have universal health care, which is very important to mention.
Well, I mean, in this case, I like to look at it like a darts analogy. You can just huck a dart. I mean, not everyone hits a bullseye, but I mean, if after you've thrown like 3 darts, you start to learn how to to hone in on that one spot, right? So he made the first move. A first move is not going to be perfect. Okay, we got Obamacare. There's tons of problems with that. It's forcing people to buy insurance, right? So someone's going to benefit off that. So what I think we should do is not repeal it, but fix it, chisel away, make it into something perfect. But I definitely agree that we needed that first step.
He allowed gay marriage and pot. But my thing with that is that I think it would have happened anyway. He just happened to be there at the time, kind of rode the wave of popularism. There's a lot of things that, I mean, the president is not a king. And there's a lot of things happening at state level without the president saying something. So
he has veto power.
He has
veto power. He can stop something, from becoming a law. So,
but states have a lot of power.
States do have quite a bit of power,
He, of course, talked to Cuba and other countries, which I think is great. We should talk to other nations. We should not shut down and not talk to people.
Basically, everybody wants money. So money trumps everything. So whatever your ideology is or whatever, if you teach those people, we can do business together and everyone can make some money here, we can improve our lives, that generally trumps everything. But back in the old days, what people would do is they'd have a certain ideology. Oh, we're freedom fighters, we're capitalists, we're only going to do what we want to do, blah, blah, blah. So we're not going to talk to Cuba anymore. 50 years goes by. Everyone who was alive back at those times is probably gone by now or close to it. Castro just recently died, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but our generation, people our age, they're like, what's going on over there? I want to see what these guys got over there. They seem like they got some cool stuff over there. Why don't we just see if we can negotiate some business with these people? Which I think, like you said before, Obama was just in the right place at the right time, and he was able to pull that off. Right.
We talked about Reagan and how he basically let loose on the street all the mentally ill people, and that's still causing problems today. I mean,
I think Reagan's one of the worst presidents the United States has ever had. Yeah. I mean, for gun control, he basically, after he got shot, he's like, there might be something behind this gun control, and I think, he might have enacted some rules that didn't allow automatic weapons, fully automatic weapons or whatever on the street. I think those have at one point had been bounced back the other direction, and now they might. I'm not sure where they stand now because I am not in a position where I need a gun.
Right.
I don't live the life that facilitates gun use.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. So there's a lot of things I don't know about gun control, but I think that it's always going to be a problem.
Yep. Income disparities have become so pronounced that America's top 10% now average nearly 9 times as much income as the bottom 90%. The top 1% of America's income earners have more than doubled their share of the nation's income since the middle of the 20th century. American top 1% incomes peaked in the late 1920s.
If you understand anything about economy, I'll just give you the basics, right? Basically, the sitting president does not have a lot to do with the economy at the time they're sitting. Their decisions make the economy in the future 8 to 10 years after they're finished, makes changes there. So basically everything that was up to where Obama was sitting was probably from the Carter, Reagan, Clinton era, and then he got in and he made some decisions that we'll probably see later on in our lives, right? So economy is not really an easy way to judge how a president is doing. I mean, there are small factors in the economy, like if they raise the tax rate or if they add some costs to here and there, or if they over budget certain things. Yes, that affects the economy, but the overall economy, like we're talking about, is definitely not by the sitting president.
Inequality in America is growing even at the top. The nation's highest 0.1% of income earners have over recent decades seen their incomes rise much faster than the rest of the top 1%. Incomes in this top 0.1% increased 7.5 times between 1973 and 2007. So again, this is before Obama. Okay, so this is up to the end of Bush presidency. But you can see in the graph, though, that it's still going up, unfortunately. The top 1% are doing pretty well, whereas the bottom 20% have pretty much stagnated. And that's what they talk about all the time, actually. The CEO pay. That's my favorite.
Okay.
So the CEOs in America are fucking rich bastards.
Yeah.
And, there are, of course, some... They're not like all evil or something like that. Of course, people like Bill Gates do a lot of good.
Warren Buffett.
Sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. But a lot of them are just basically kind of
cunts.
Koch brothers, right?
Yeah,
I mean, and so
I'll break it down for you. They're cunts.
Simple, right?
Yeah. A lot of them didn't earn their position in the company. They kind of just like.
That's true.
If you want to equate it to the television show Survivor, they played a social game. They didn't use strategy to win. They played a social game and they just made friends with this guy, went to lunch with this guy, bought this guy a bag of cocaine, whatever. And just played this little social game. And I've worked in the finance industry and I've seen this happen. And people who get promotions are not necessarily always the people who deserve it.
Right. CEO to worker ratio, well, in I think 2014, it was 335 times. So the CEO makes 335 times what the average worker does. Right. If that's not robbery, I don't know what is.
So let's do some simple math. I mean, if you make $10 an hour, they make 330 times more?
Right.
That's like, how much is that?
Well, that would be $330 an hour.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's an entire year for poor families, right?
Right.
If you make $33,000 a year, you're poor.
Right.
Because especially if you got kids, because what happens in those cases is people who are poor generally have a lot more children for some reason, right? Because they don't have nothing to do, so they sit home and fuck. So that's all they do, right? Try raising babies, like multiple babies, right?
On a minimum wage.
On a minimum wage or with $33,000 a year.
It goes back to the perception of reality. Americans might think they know how bad inequality is, but it turns out they actually have no idea. A new study conducted at Harvard Business School found that Americans believe CEOs make roughly 30 times what the average worker makes in the US, when in actuality they are making more than 350 times the average worker.
50 times.
Americans drastically underestimate the gap in actual incomes between CEOs and workers. What kind of job justifies these kind of obscene salaries? I don't know.
What is he doing?
Yeah.
I mean, because I see the CEO, he doesn't do dick. He just sits around in his office. Maybe he works half a day.
Here's a question for you. So a lot of these rich, really rich folks, they actually don't work at all. They have like, they hire maybe 2-3 people,
Right.
and these people actually play on the stock market.
Right.
So in my opinion, actually, stock market is so fucking illegal way to make money. I mean,
I think, in my opinion, stock market, the little guy always loses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because if you take your little $100.
Well, you don't have any insiders.
No, you take your little $100 and you invest it. You might as well just give it to me and let me go buy
Right.
some beer.
Or
At
just-
least I'll share my beer with you.
Right,
You know,
right.
at least you get something out of it. But if you take it and invest, your small amount of money into the stock market, it'll be there. It'll go up and down. Ooh, look at all the pretty graphs and stuff. And then eventually, at the end of 7 years, they go yoink,
Yep.
and they just take it, right?
Yep.
And these guys, they can take a year or 2 years or 3 years worth of a normal person's salary,
Right.
and go, oh, I'm going to invest this in this.
Right.
Because, like you said, they have insider information.
do.
Especially Congress. People in Congress
Yes.
can't even be charged for insider trading.
Yeah.
People in the private...
Well, because they write the laws.
Right, people in the private sector, if you work at a bank and you hear two dudes talking about something and your ear perks up and you go and invest, you get on your phone and you invest in
Yeah.
that, you can actually get busted for insider trading.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you work at a bank, you have to let HR know exactly what you've invested in, what are your current holdings or whatever, and they keep an eye on that. They don't want you moving any of your stuff, right? Because if you heard any information and you suddenly move something and you suddenly gain, like you become a millionaire, alarms go off.
Yep, yep.
But Congress people, Congress people are like, oh, we're good. We can do insider trading. These CEOs, same thing. They have people on the inside saying, look, I got some word down the pipe. I can't move on it because HR's
Right.
watching me, but
Right.
you're my buddy, and I'll let you know this information, and you go ahead and invest on that. And then turnaround's fair play. So later on, if the situation's reversed, they're going to help their friends out. So it's a buddy system, and it's
Oh, yeah.
insider trading. It's all incestuous.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
The common people, what they'll try to get you to invest in is equity, and equity you keep for a long period of time, and over a period of time it makes that little up and down movement.
Yep.
If you're lucky, you paid this much here and it ends up being worth this much here.
Right.
If you're lucky.
Right.
This is where politics takes place, right? So if a law changes in between you buying your penny stocks down here, the law changes, maybe your penny stocks end up here, maybe they're worth $100 now.
Yeah, yeah.
But it works in the opposite way as well. So now your penny stocks are worthless.
Right,
There
right.
could be that kind of outcome as well.
Yep.
Which is what I meant. Little guy always
Which
loses.
most of the time happens, right?
Yeah.
If you compare the CEO ratio to other nations, well, in America it's 350 to 1. In Japan, we're in Japan, it's 67, which is still a bit too high in my opinion. I mean, I don't know what level is exactly acceptable, but if you really want my opinion, probably like 40 to 50 is probably the maximum I would allow.
Right.
Not more than that.
I mean, I'm not for capitalizing. I don't think we should cap people's earning potential.
I think we should.
Difference of opinion there. Maybe we'll just have to agree to disagree. But I think people should be allowed to earn as much as possible. However, I think situations that we're in, like where people are earning minimum wage, that's got to be dealt with. People who don't have health insurance. I like the idea, it may be kind of a pipe dream, but if you earn more, you pay more tax. That's kind of how it's supposed to be, right? So if you're earning a lot more, you should pay a lot more in tax. But I don't think you should cap what people make. Right? I think we should budget our economy so that people on the lower level, even though they're struggling, they don't have to make a wage that's not livable.
The thing is, like right now we have a runaway capitalist system and people totally abuse it.
Right.
And we have people who are super rich and we have people who are mega poor, who live on the streets basically, who have nothing at all. And we always talk about, well, let's help Iraq, let's help Afghanistan, but we have people in our own country that are suffering without, like you said,
Right.
without healthcare, without education.
Right.
People in Flint dying from lead in the water.
Look at history. Over history, when you've had mega rich people and super poor people, what happens? French Revolution.
Revolutions,
Yeah,
right,
revolutions happen. I'm not going to say that is going to happen in America. I hope not. I hope no one gets hurt. But I'm saying, looking at history, this has always been the case, right? You can't have a super rich and super poor. There's got to be something in the middle. You want to get out. You want to have a good society. You can have capital. You can have capitalism. You can have social things like social medicine. Like
Sure,
look at Canada. Canada's doing fine with that.
Yeah. Well, Japan too.
Japan too. But the thing is, if you want to help out the world, you want to help out your country. Joe Rogan said it first, and I agree with him. You got to take out all the losers. You got to get the losers out of the equation. You know, and everyone goes, oh, if you give people free education, there's going to be people who just sit back and collect money. Yeah, there probably are going to be that little percent of people who do that. Well, fuck them. But the point is, the majority of people, if you give them an opportunity, they want to work.
Yeah.
You know, the average person wants to work hard.
Yeah.
And if you give them the opportunity, here, man, just try. And whatever you do, you're gonna, you know, your effort is gonna determine your outcome.
No, I think
so.
Yeah,
most people, I think, really would try hard if you give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't think that everyone's going to sit at home with Cheeto fingers, you know, just sitting on their mom's sofa playing video games. There might be a few guys that do that, but those are just people you can't help no matter how much you try.
That's what Mitt Romney said. 50% of our country who are just takers. Just takers.
I disagree with him.
Well, of course I do. Yeah.
Mitt Romney. I'm still on board with the idea of him being a robot. He's not a human being. He's really a robot with human skin. So if he goes in the back, he takes his face off.
Yeah.
And he sets it, and he gets in a back to tank, and he just floats there.
Yeah. He still wears the magic underwear.
Yeah, that's true. He wears magic bulletproof underwear. Yeah.
There's another graph here which is pretty interesting. In the last 30 years, the top 10% wage has gone by about $500, whereas the median and the bottom 10% have not increased much. Actually, the bottom 10% decreased. So again, politicians love to talk about jobs and productivity. It's such great bullshit buzzwords.
Both of things they don't have or they don't do. They don't do a job. They don't have any productivity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they complain about the productivity. Oh, our productivity is so low. Well, actually, in the last 40 years, the productivity has gone up 140%.
It's a lot of overtime.
That's a lot of overtime. And guess what? The hourly compensation has not increased at all.
Yeah, that sucks.
Fucking bastards.
Yeah.
Fucking bastards.
That means they want you to do free overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't mind sitting around the office for a little bit longer. We're not going to pay you.
Yep.
But we'd like you to finish this, you know. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. And here's my work too. Yeah.
And that graph is related to union membership. So Reagan, of course, was very popular for union busting, like we talked on the show.
Yeah.
Union membership was at its peak in the 40s and 50s, and then it went into a decline under Reagan especially. You can see it here on the graph. So the top 10 income share, again, has gone up, but the union membership, 2007, now we're down to about 11%. That's bad. Obviously, we need more people in union. We need more workers' voices out there.
Right.
And if they're not represented, the system takes advantage of them.
Here in Japan, that was interesting because they do have a workers' union.
Yes.
They have one for English teachers. I think they have a common one for like office workers like myself, IT guys, you know, project managers. I actually joined the union one time, and they're actually pretty powerful. Mm-hmm. So like sometimes in Japan or whatever, when you work at a company, they try to mess you around. Like they'll say like this is a contract, this is our standard contract, like I mentioned before. But there's hours overtime you have to work, but you can't be compensated for them, which 10 years ago was the norm. Mm-hmm. But recently that's become super illegal.
Well, I mean, look at France. France has very strong unions. They always go on protests. Right. Everybody's on the street, always. Always, but it works.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah.
For me, what is interesting is that they always bragged about the amount of jobs created. Oh, we created like 8 million jobs. Well, okay, great. What kind of jobs did you create? Because they never talk about that.
It's a good point. I mean, what kind of jobs, right?
I mean, did you create like 5 million of that was like kind of McDonald's jobs or something like that?
Well,
nobody really wants that.
Roosevelt did that as well. I mean, that was the whole New Deal part, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, but probably the same situation. They do road construction.
Right.
So that makes, if you're going to do a road construction, there's guys that wave flags, there's guys who dig, there's guys who pour cement.
Yep.
Those are all jobs.
Sure.
And those all go in those numbers. Right?
Sure.
So that's what you're saying. Are these McDonald's jobs? Are these road construction jobs? Are they laying railroad tracks?
I'd like to see a breakdown of that. Poverty rate has gone up 1.6 points. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. The uninsured went down by 15 million. So that, I think this is because of Obamacare, and of course Trump is gonna go back on that.
Well, he says he's going to.
Yeah.
He's going to have a hard time doing it.
Yeah.
Because basically, if you take insurance healthcare away from people, you're murdering people, bro.
Yes.
Because there's people that like rely on that to live.
Yeah, sure.
Right, so history's not going to be kind to you if you end up murdering millions and millions of people. Who else in history has done that? Who else in history has murdered millions and millions of people? Just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, history's not kind to him either.
No.
Yeah, so I think Obama did fine with the Obamacare. Trump, Cheeto Jesus, is not going to do fine. He's not going to be able to repeal it. Just like his travel ban. He's like, oh, I'm going to ban all Muslims. Well, how do you know someone's a Muslim?
Yeah.
What if they come in their dress? What if I come dressed in like traditional Muslim garb just because I want to?
Yeah, right, exactly.
I'm Muslim. I don't believe in shit. Like, are you a Muslim? Yeah. No, bro, I don't believe in shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you tell someone's a Muslim? You smell them? You look at them?
Yeah.
You poke him? Feels Muslim-y.
Yeah.
He's Muslim-y.
Yeah.
So no, just his travel ban didn't work.
No.
His repeal for Obamacare not going to work.
So that is going to do well in the House because they control the House, but it's going to fail in the Senate. So it has to pass the Senate.
That's right.
So, all right. Anyway, consumer prices have gone up 12%. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, but I mean that's going to happen.
Yeah, inflation.
Inflation.
Like
Yeah.
that, yeah. Real weekly earnings have only gone up 3%. Food stamp recipients have gone up 42%. So that's a lot of people on food stamps.
Okay, but that's a number we have to qualify, right?
Yes.
What's
from which?
Yeah, from which has the population increased by X percent?
Slightly.
Yeah, because now there's a lot more people.
Yeah.
Has money been taken away from education? So now you have people with poorer educations who can't get jobs. There's these numbers need to be qualified, and you can't just say, oh, this has gone. Food stamps have gone up 40%. People will freak out.
Yeah, exactly.
All the racist people who follow me on Facebook, I got a lot. Boy, I got a lot. They will.
The food stamp president. Right?
The Obama's just giving away money. The food stamp president.
Right.
You're not really qualifying your numbers, bro. Yeah. Go ahead.
Corporate profits have gone up 175%. The economy, of course, has gone up a lot. The debt held by the public has gone up 107%. The petroleum imports have gone down, but the U.S. production has gone up 90%. Wind and solar have gone up 250%.
That's cool.
I'll go back to the oil in a second. So this is the interesting part here. President Obama is walking a fine line in calling attention to the surge of oil production during his presidency for two reasons. One is that he wants to be known as a president who took decisive action on climate change. But presiding over a huge surge of oil production isn't exactly synonymous with combating climate change. Unless, of course, you couch the issue in terms of reduction in oil imports, and then it sounds kind of like a positive for climate change.
Okay.
But I think the other reason President Obama doesn't spend more time beating the drum on this crude oil production surge is that it is readily apparent that it happened despite his administration and not because of it. President Obama coincidentally happened to enter office just as the shale oil boom in the U.S. was getting started.
Which goes back to what we were saying before.
Right.
It doesn't really matter about the sitting president. That was all before him.
You have to qualify or quantify things.
Quantify the numbers, yeah.
Yep. This is interesting because Trump especially goes, oh, we have to save the coal jobs. We have so many coal jobs in the country. Well, actually, we only have 86,000 coal jobs in the country.
It's not very many.
It's not very many. And if I tell you 370,000, and that's solar.
Right.
Well, that's where the jobs are.
Right.
And the fucking idiot is living in the past on fossil fuels, where most of the jobs are moving to solar. Hey, we need people to put panels on roofs. I mean, it's not going to put itself.
Right.
Or we need to make solar plants in deserts somewhere.
Correct.
It needs a lot of people. Coal is a dying industry. It's a dirty industry.
Right.
And people think also the other fallacy they make is, oh, those people are going to lose their jobs. No, most of them are probably going to be retrained to work in the solar industry.
Right. Well, I mean, if you're working in coal, you probably have other skills as well. It's not like you have just one skill.
Yeah.
All I can do is swing this pickaxe.
Yeah.
I bet you're a capable person and you can do other things.
Yeah.
Even if you swing a pickaxe, you can do mining. You can do mining of other things.
Yep.
You can mine minerals. There's lots of things you can do besides get coal out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of what we were talking about before. The people, evangelicals, they think things are black or white. They don't understand that there's option C, D, E, and sometimes F, right? You can choose something else.
Even wind has 100,000 workers. Even that has more workers than coal.
Yeah.
How pathetic is that?
Yeah. Coal is last century or the century before. It's
It's dying.
it's dying. We gotta move forward.
Yeah.
Right.
The middle class is still decreasing, and this is still despite the efforts of Obama. In the 6 years through 2013, over the recession and recovery that has spanned Obama's tenure, jobs have been added at the top and the bottom of the wage scale, a Reuters analysis of labor statistics shows. In the middle, the economy has shed positions, whether in traditional trades like machining or electrical work, white-collar jobs or human resources, or technical ones like computer operators. Well, if you work in the low end of the job, again, this is probably like McDonald's, stuff like that, very manual labor,
Right.
factory worker,
Right.
stuff like that. In the middle, that's the thing, like in the middle class, a lot of the jobs are being replaced by automation.
Right. This is going to happen. This has
It's
been
gonna
happening
happen.
forever.
It's inevitable.
Right. I mean, the old guys who used to stand in a production line, those jobs are gone.
gone, yeah.
Even this is an argument that people say all the time. Like they say, oh, all the manufacturing jobs have been taken out of the United States. Okay, let's bring them back to the United States. You know what? They're not going to be like they used to be, because you're not going to find people who will work for the wages that they want to pay.
Right.
And they're also, you're not going to find people who want to stand in line,
Yeah.
and go like this all day.
Yep.
This all day. This all day. You're not going to find these people
Yeah.
anymore in the United States. Times have changed.
Yeah, machine is going to do
Machine's going to do that.
So-
Yeah. Yeah, it's easier to invest in a machine than pay someone who has a potential. They want days off. They're going to be sick. They're going to
Yeah.
have babies. They might have an injury and sue you on the
Yeah.
job. A machine, if you use it correctly, it's going to last for years.
Yeah, talking about some kind of a company that makes carpets. Okay, we can produce a whole lot of new carpet with not a lot more people. Anderson said companies have spent between 1.5 and 2 billion dollars on retooling and innovation, reducing demand for labor, while higher and average regional unemployment continue to hold down wages. He said.
You don't see a lot of people, threading a loom these days.
Right.
I mean, there's some places that still do,
Sure,
but
sure, sure.
I mean, I'm sure like maybe 100 years ago that was the only way to make fabric.
Yep. Yeah.
So I mean, it's all automated now.
Right.
Everything's going to become that.
Right.
Yeah.
The forces at work in the American economy appear so entrenched that Obama may be remembered as the president who pulled the nation from its worst downturn since the Great Depression, but failed to arrest deepening economic inequality. Between 2010 and 2013, as recovery took hold and stock markets soared, the average net worth of families in the top 40% of income earners grew. For all other average net worth shrank, declining 19% for the middle fifth.
This goes back to what we were talking about just a second ago. The economy's changing.
Yes.
So older skills that you used to have before are no longer valuable anymore. Like in the Depression times, they had guys walking around sharpening knives. There was a guy with a cart who walked around sharpening scissors and sharpening knives.
Yep.
Literally, you don't have that anymore. That
Yeah.
job is gone.
Yeah.
Milkman. When was the last time you saw a milkman? I've never seen one. They didn't have one when I was born.
Right.
Right. But I went to England. Well, I'll take that back. When I went to England, they have milk delivery.
They do. They do.
Yeah, but I mean, where I'm from, Texas, Chicago, California, those kind of areas, you go to the store and buy milk. You don't have it delivered. Yeah. Those kind of jobs are just gone.
Yeah. Or car factories, right?
Yeah.
I mean, before you had a guy who put the door or...
Yeah.
Now
That's manufacturing. Those jobs have all been overseas.
Yeah.
And if a human being is still doing it, they're doing it for much, much less than what a person in the United States would charge.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's just the facts of life. They have lower standard of living, so they'll work for less. As Obama was president, all of these things happened, and they said, did he get us out of the worst depression since the Great Depression? He only had basically 2 years to do all this, because after his first term, I think in the middle or the end of his second term, Congress all became Republican. So he was kind of his hands were tied at that point, and he couldn't do anymore.
Yeah.
So I think just really blaming it all or saying he did it all, giving him all the credit, is not really honest.
Yeah.
He could only do so much before his hands got tied, and also in 4 years in office, you can only do so much.
Yeah. Over the 6 years through 2013, the middle fifth's average annual family earnings fell to $47,000 from $53,000, while their average net worth dropped to $170,000 from $236,000. Now we're going to talk a little bit about war because, well, unfortunately, despite he won, I think, 2 Nobel Peace Prizes, if I'm not mistaken, he sure waged a lot of wars.
And he droned the shit out of
Droned
people.
a lot of people, right.
Yeah.
This conversation happens before Obama, but it's just interesting because it shows how some people at the top of our military, in the military branch, think about the rest of the world. They actually don't give a shit.
No, they don't.
Check this out. So this is General Wesley Clark, and he's talking about, 9/11 period. He says, I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me in. He said, sir, you've got to come in and talk to me for a second. I said, well, you're too busy. He said, no, he says, we've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq. That was about the 20th of September. I said, we're going to war with Iraq? Why? He said, I don't know. I don't know. He said...
Because fuck them, that's why.
Right.
Yeah.
He said, listen to this. I guess they don't know what else to do. So I said, well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda? He said, no. There's nothing new on that front, that way. They just made this decision to go to war with Iraq. I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military. And we can take down governments.
Let's take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy is a general.
Yeah.
Which means really, really removed from reality.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and also he's telling us a story of a person that told him something, and we have no way of verifying this actually ever happened.
Yeah.
I really think that at that time, the guy didn't know that was going to happen. I don't think they just like throw war plans around the White House telling everybody, because if that happened, it would have gotten to the news. They would have talked about it. Yeah, I don't think these guys are just like walking around the office going, "Hey, we're going to war with Iraq." Yeah.
When I remember that period, I do remember actually the U.S. was pretty quick to turn its eyes on Iraq. It took a while to start because they went to the UN and all that BS with.
I'm mixing up my wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the first Gulf War. Yeah.
Because so many wars.
Yeah.
I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were already bombing in Afghanistan. And I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this memo from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense office today. And he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years.
It's surely not classified.
Okay, but check this out. Starting with Iraq, and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off with Iran. I am so aware that Iran is something they want to get so bad. It's always they talk about Iran.
But really no one's ever successfully attacked Iran except for the Mongols.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So that was that was a long time ago.
Yeah. But just remember these countries. Just bear them in mind. I'll go back to it in a second. It's very important.
Go ahead.
He's talking about Iran here. Okay, so he says they're building up their own network of influence, and to cement it, they occasionally give some military assistance and training and advice, either directly or indirectly, to both the insurgents and to the militias. And in that sense, it's not exactly parallel, because there has been, I believe, continuous Iranian engagement, some of it legitimate, some of it illegitimate. This is so funny to me to read this, because it's as if America does not do that at all. So we're criticizing Iran for giving training to people. We trained the Iraqi army. We're training the Afghan police.
We've been doing this since Vietnam.
Since Vietnam, exactly. And by the way, the Iraq army, we trained them.
I think we trained Al-Qaeda as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, in the 80s, right?
Of course.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was all
of course.
Reagan.
We trained the Iraqi military, and when ISIS popped up, remember that? When they showed up and they fucking threw down their weapons and ran.
Right.
So that's the people we trained.
Yeah.
Oh, and in Syria, remember that? We were trying to find some militia. We were trying to train some people to fight there, and like 7 people showed up to register or something.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, please.
It's because they said there would be free cake.
Yeah.
If you say guns and cake. Excuse me, I heard there would be cake here today?
Yeah.
We don't have cake. Just gets up and
Sorry,
leaves. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah.
This is Jill Stein. Jill Stein, of course, she's the Green Party candidate who seems to always run for president. Anyway, she tweeted at one point, countries bombed, Obama 7, Bush 4. At the time, the US on Obama's watch had bombed Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, Somalia, Yemen, Libya, and Syria. The drones, right? President Obama did reduce the number of US soldiers fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq. Well, because he was smart enough to understand that you don't need giant armies to take out some dudes who live in tents or caves.
Skynet, bro.
Yeah,
he just like created the Terminator universe.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
actually,
just attacks them with a computer or a robot.
But he dramatically expanded the air wars and the use of special operations forces around the globe. In 2016, US special operators could be found in 70% of the world's nations. If that's not an empire, I don't know what is. 138 countries, a staggering jump of 130% since the days of the Bush administration. Looking back at the President Obama legacy, the Council of Foreign Relations added up the Defense Department data on airstrike and made a startling revelation. In 2016 alone, the Obama administration dropped at least 26,171 bombs. This means that every day last year, the US military blasted combatants or civilians overseas with 72 bombs. That's 3 bombs every hour, 24 hours a day. Okay, so this thing in Manchester happened, in London it happened before, this terrorist, right?
Right.
And the media always conveniently never says why this fucking happens.
Right, well.
And they always blame, actually, the terrorists, and they always paint themselves as the victims. And I have a friend, I think he served in Vietnam, and he says, well, during Vietnam, the war was very reported. And people back home knew exactly what's happening every day.
Well, you know who ended that, right? George Bush. George Bush.
Yes.
He said you couldn't show bodies.
Yes.
Yeah, and you couldn't show coffins returning back.
So
basically, you can show only the cool parts, the shit that we do good.
Right, shooting things.
Yeah, every once in a while you see somebody pop and go pop, 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 and then they get down there. Hey, we're good. Yeah. But you don't see 18-year-old, Private Ryan with half his body blown off, right?
Exactly. The wars, especially in the last, let's say, 5 years, have been so underreported that I think some people think nothing's happening anymore because they never hear about it.
That's true.
Oh, but in London happened. Oh my God. Yeah, okay. All right, look, let's have some perspective here. Not for 1 second I defend the actions of terrorists. These people are cowards. At least if they attack a military installation, well, at least they're fighting against soldiers. They're killing fucking civilians.
Well, in this case, they're killing little girls.
Yeah, in the concert,
which is completely gross.
It's despicable.
Yeah.
But please have some perspective. The US and Russia, by the way, Russia has bombed Syria to all hell. We are creating terrorists because we are bombing these people. Just imagine you have a bomb who we dropped by accident on a hospital and it happened. Some kid who just saw his father torn to shreds by shrapnel. Do you think this kid is gonna grow up to be an engineer or a fucking astrophysicist?
No, what's gonna happen is that kid's gonna have emotional problems, and he's going to be withdrawn. And then that's the kind of person that these people, draw in.
Exactly.
Cultish kind of. Hey, I know how you're feeling, man. Come over here and why don't you? We're all the same, And then why don't you just put this little jacket on and hold that button down and walk over there? Yeah. That's exactly who they're looking for. They're looking for the weak. They're looking for the damaged, the injured.
The trauma.
The people who have traumatic injuries, depression.
So I don't know what the solution is. This is a problem that even goes back to the Soviets because they invaded Afghanistan. It gave the Muslim world a reason to fight the invading infidel. Okay, so what happens in war is that a lot of civilians die, and it's so funny to me that back then they were called casualties of war or civilian casualties.
Right.
Okay.
Collateral damage.
Well, okay, that came later.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So, okay, let's take just casualty of war.
Okay.
That language is very important. Very important. Casualty is something we associate with bad.
Right.
War, obviously, association is bad.
Okay.
Casualty of war, bad.
Okay.
Okay. Now, check this out. Now we're going to invent a new word. Collateral damage.
Okay.
Wow. Doesn't
Right.
sound as bad, does it?
No, it means like something you didn't mean to be damaged was damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, language is very important.
I know the way that one side is thinking. I'm not necessarily saying I agree with it, but one side is saying if a lot of people die, those people who are left can change their government.
Yeah.
They can have a revolution and stop it from happening,
Yeah.
and put a new government in place, and that
Yep.
new government can negotiate with the U.S. That's what they're thinking on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually a viable solution or not, but I know that's what they're thinking.
If I was living in Iraq, for example, well, luckily I don't, but if I was, I would be pretty pissed off after 9/11. So what happens is some idiots from Saudi Arabia, because they were proven to be from Saudi Arabia, so they blew up the
A
world.
lot of them were, yeah.
The majority.
The majority
of them.
were.
So they blew up the World Trade Center, right? Okay, horrible tragedy. Well, worst tragedy. Right.
The first time in 1993 and then in 2001.
Well, I'm especially talking about the 2001. That
Yeah.
was the most deadly one.
Right.
Okay, so that happens, and we invade Iraq. What the hell happened there? Like, who's thinking? Oh, in Saudi Arabia, by the way, we never touched them. We just sold them weapons. Just a few days ago,
Yeah, billions
we
of
sold them
dollars.
more weapons.
Yeah.
And we sold also weapons to Qatar. So Trump said, oh, Qatar is a great haven for terrorism. But let's sell
They probably
them
need
weapons.
guns there to fight the terrorists. Terrorists won't get these guns. Yeah, right.
The problem is, like, how do we know who the terrorists are?
Well,
in
how do
that
we know who
area?
gets those guns? Once we give it to
Also
them,
that too, yeah.
we give the gun to the guy A, and we don't know what he's going to do once he has a
Right.
hold of them, right? It's like in martial arts, we say, oh, martial arts should never be used aggressively or or used to hurt people. I think that once you teach somebody something, you don't know how they're going to go out and use it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
how they're going to go out. Every time you buy a handgun, the guy behind the counter doesn't tell you, hey, whatever you do, don't go out and do any crimes with this gun I'm selling you.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how you're going to use that ability to kill people later.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way to tell. The way to get around that is don't sell them guns.
Yeah.
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 I'm not a rocket scientist, but,
Yeah.
but hey, how about we don't give the bad guys guns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
FYI, we talk about this in a very compressed format. I mean,
Right.
if we really want to talk in depth, we probably need to talk every day for a week or something like
Right.
that. We don't have the time. So
Right.
it's very compressed. Obviously, some things we leave out. The last thing I want to mention is the NSA disclosure, Edward Snowden, of course. That happened in June 2013. Okay, again, very polarizing figure for some reason. Some people really think he's a traitor. Some people think he's a hero. I think he's a hero
I agree.
because very simple reason. The government was hiding information on purpose from people. Well, actually, it's not just that, because some information needs to be hidden, okay?
I get it.
I mean,
Yeah.
not everybody should have the means to make a nuclear bomb in their
Right.
basement, okay?
Right.
Although you probably could Google that.
A 14. I was going to say a 14-year-old kid actually made a nuclear reactor in
Wow.
his basement. That's
Well,
a
there
whole
you-
different show.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were collecting information on you or me, on every American, any kind of information, all stuff on Facebook, who has a relationship with who.
Right.
All of that information was being collected
Right.
for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know, later you get accused of something that you might have said some years ago, or you might have tweeted something.
Right.
And it
You
can be
drunk
used
tweet
against
something
you.
unless you're the president.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about Snowden, actually? Yeah, in general.
I think what he did was very brave, and he threw his life away. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how history, treats him. At the end of the Obama presidency, since we're talking about that, he let that guy who did the WikiLeaks go. He pardoned her sentence, and then I don't understand why he didn't pardon Snowden's sentence, because what Snowden did was in my opinion, was truly patriotic, because he tried to support the people of America. You know, in the Constitution, when you sign up for the military, it says you will defend the Constitution against foreign and internal,
Yes.
enemies.
Yes.
And that's all he did. He was defending the Constitution of the United States, right? They were illegally gathering information,
Right.
secret information against its own people,
Right.
and that can't be good. Yeah.
No.
So I think Obama should have probably said, "Hey, Snowden, come on, you're good."
Yeah.
He should be immune from prosecution. I think being the president in general is a job that nobody really wants. I mean, it's for the backlash that you get and the money you get. It's not really worth it, right? I think their salary is $400,000 a year, which is not as much as the CEOs that we mentioned before were making, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it's a thankless job, but I mean.
Well, I mean, it should not be about the money. Remember what we talked about before, right? Politics used to be a service, and now it's a career.
Yeah, it should be a service, right? Yeah, you should do it in service to the country. You shouldn't do it as a career. I think Obama did the best that he could with what he had, and the repercussions, like I mentioned before, the repercussions of the Obama administration won't be felt until many years from now. So it's a little bit too early for us to say whether he was the great president or bad president. He's a normal human being who made the decisions based on the data that he had in front of him at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I could have done any better.
Yeah.
I think Trump is a piece of crap, but
do you think
he's just a bad human being?
Well, yeah. Do you think he would have done better if he was white?
I don't know how race has any effect on the job you do.
Well, I think it had a huge effect on the way that especially the Republicans viewed him.
I hope that's not the case. I personally don't judge people by the color of their skin, so
of course.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that if they do that, that says a lot about their character or lack thereof. That's kind of sad if they do that.
The Republican is kind of a white party mostly. I
Well,
mean,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to recover from the Trump presidency, though.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hard one to come back from.
But you see, that depends on who the Democrats put forward. I mean, I really want to see a progressive candidate.
Well, the Democrats shot themselves in the foot.
They did, absolutely.
Yeah, they totally shot themselves in the foot. They fucked over Bernie Sanders in the Democratic National Convention.
Yep.
That came to light. That information came out. I think Sanders could have beat Trump easily.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You can't put Clinton in front. She's got so much baggage, and she's not pretty to look at. And neither is Trump. But I mean,
yeah.
I mean, just listening to her talk, her voice. She's not a good public speaker. She doesn't come from the people. You know, she goes to talk to like a women's group wearing a $1,500 dress or whatever. You know, something that normal people just don't have access to. You know, who buys a $1,500 dress? Right?
Their whole campaigns were different. Bernie was always going out talking to the people, and she was always busy giving those dinners.
Yeah, well, she got paid $250,000 for it, but there's no transcript of the speeches,
right?
Which tells me those speeches never took place. Yeah. She just got money.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a policy on my page now to ban anybody who specifically shares misinformation about climate change. I'm sorry, but my page is not for that. If you want to have this kind of weird debates, please have it somewhere else.
Right.
I am susceptible, like I said, sometimes to fall to fake news. Unfortunately, we all are. I try to limit that percentage as much as possible. But when it comes to climate change, I have reliable information that comes through climate scientists who already fact-checked it and everything. So understand me, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I just want real factual information. So that's one thing. Second thing, I just designed some new shirts.
Cool.
There's one actually about climate change, kind of funny one, I think. If you can, please support me, please get them. I can definitely use the help to replace some equipment or stuff like that. It's not free. Okay, anyway, like I said, I might go on a complete break from July to the end of September. I'll let you know as it goes. And the next show will be in October either way. That's all.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks for watching. See you.
Bye.